This illustration igniting a diplomatic fire between China and Australia. It appears to show an Australian soldier with a knife held to an Afghan child's throat. A Chinese foreign ministry spokesman tweeted it out on Monday. Australia's Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, demanded China apologize.
It is a false image and a terrible slur on our great defence forces.
The tweet comes after Australian officials released a report alleging that elite Australian forces killed 39 civilians and prisoners in Afghanistan. Australian Defence Forces dismissed 13 soldiers following the report and recommended that federal police investigate 36 alleged war crimes. Chinese officials doubling down this week, refusing to apologize. The Australian side has been reacting so strongly to my colleague's tweet. Why is that? Do they think that their merciless killing of Afghan civilians is justified, but the condemnation of such ruthless brutality is not, she said? International relations experts say Australia, a critical U.S. ally, is being punished by Beijing for following the Trump administration's lead in standing up to China.
It's this bullying nationalism that explains why China has not been very good at winning friends and influencing outcomes.
Australia left trying to balance security versus prosperity.
We're now in if you like, a zero-sum game, and the stakes are enormously high for all concerned, particularly the United States, Australia's most important security ally, and China, Australia's most important trade partner.
The tweeted image, just the latest incident amidst a years-long worsening China-Australia relationship. In April, Morrison was among the first world leaders to call for an international inquiry into Beijing's handling of the pandemic.
That sounds very outrageous to China because it puts China sort of in the same footing as Iraq, being investigated for weapon of mass destruction.
Beginning in May, Beijing began targeting lucrative Australian exports to China, including wine, barley, and beef. They face high tariffs, anti-subsidy investigations, and lengthy delays clearing customs. In September, the last 2 reporters working for Australian news organizations in China were evacuated after being questioned by Chinese authorities over a national security case.
There are a lot of countries in the region, most notably Australia, that's very anxious about China's rise, and they want the United States to be heavily engaged, both militarily and diplomatically, in the Asia-Pacific region.
I don't quite see it that way. I think there's also room for more international cooperation.
The plight of Australia is not lost on the incoming Biden administration. While not mentioning China specifically, the president-elect's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, tweeted in part Wednesday, "As we have for a century, America will stand shoulder to shoulder with our ally Australia and rally fellow democracies to advance our shared security, prosperity, and values." A pledge that Australia certainly hopes to see President Biden uphold from the White House. David Culver, CNN, Beijing.